What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm going to show you something very interesting on my channel. For those of you who followed me for quite a bit, probably remember that I own a Rainbow D3C canister. Some people may have not remembered this, but the reason why I definitely wanted that D3 is because I had a lot of relatives that own D3s. My aunts owned 2 of them, my grandma's owned 1, and now I own 1, and that definitely that model has been in the family for quite a bit. So today I thought I'd go ahead and film something that was quite an upgrade that my aunt, who previously had those 2 D3s, had. Here I bring you a Rainbow E2 Black Edition. This is the latest model. There have been a lot of E2 models upgraded over the years. There was the gold model. The first one came out with a 2-speed, and then the second one came with, actually the first one was with 1 speed, and then they came out with a 2-speed later on that year. And then the 2008 one that had the blue accents still had the 2-speed, but it had a little bit different color scheme. And now they had this black edition where they've upgraded almost everything on this. See, it's got a whole different style wheel caddy. The motor unit and stuff still remains the same, but the biggest thing they've changed was the power brush and the handle grip for where you turn the brush roll on and off. So let's give a walkthrough of this machine. Right up on top front, you do have your crevice tool and your upholstery tool with little brushes on the end and a nice soft dusting brush. Probably the softest I've ever felt on any vacuum cleaner. So on the back here, you do have your mount for your cord. And if I'm not mistaken correctly, this bottom end does flip up so you can better release the cord, but that'll be later on in the video. Right back here, you do have a quick disconnect for your hose. Right here, you have a little trap door to block off the electronic connection. You want to make sure you flip that up before you insert the hose in. You want to make sure the latches lock in place so your hose stays intact. This little pedal right here does allow you to flip the motor unit off the wheel caddy. Here's what it's designed. This new wheel caddy has actually been redesigned with 5 caster wheels instead of 4. So this wheel caddy is very well balanced, better than the original. However, the back 2 and then the front are the big casters, and then they have 2 little ones on the side to help better support the weight of the machine. In typical Rainbow style, you do have little latches on the side to take the motor unit off the water basin. This right here, if I'm not mistaken, I think this basin holds about 2 quarts of water. And let's go ahead and turn it underneath to show you. Right here is your little water separator. However, one thing I personally am not a fan of on these later Rainbows is that they use plastic nuts right here for the separator instead of the brass nuts like they did on the older models. Right here, there's your model number. I don't know if my camera's gonna focus quick, but well, yeah, it's kind of hard to see. My camera won't cooperate with me. Let's go ahead and set the motor unit back on the basin. And then just locks in place, and it stays in place. The older ones were a friction fit, or at least the D series were friction fit, so sometimes if it wears off over time, the motor unit will just pop off the tool caddy whenever it wants. So like that. You do have a quick disconnect for your wand right up here. Actually, this is a suction relief, pardon me. And the quick disconnect is actually up front here. Just press that and your wand pops off just like that. Here's your little electrical connection right here. And just simply slide it back up top. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the power brush. This is an upgraded design for the Black Edition model. And finally, on this newer power brush, they've included a headlight, because you remember the PN1, the PN2 power brushes didn't even come with a headlight. And let's go ahead and tip it back and show you the underside. He does come with a wooden roller brush with soft bristles, but they are pretty dense. You will notice these little brush right here are actually rotary brushes, which I'm guessing is they're designed for edge cleaning. So it basically pulls all the dirt in, so the rest gets sucked up into the main power brush unit. And let's go ahead and turn to the side to show you the model number of the power brush. And they even have a little foot pedal right here to disconnect from the power brush, like that. And now, also one more thing before I go, like in typical Rainbow fashion, since the D4SE, you do have a pull trigger to turn the brush roll on and off. But however, this does have a lockout. For if you press that, you can simply pull it back and let go of the trigger, and the brush roll will stay on. Which I've really liked it that Rainbow actually came up with this, because normally a lot of the old power brush design that did not have this lockout is you will end up getting fatigue from having to squeeze your hand just to hold the trigger to keep the brush roll on. And since they didn't have that lockout, so kudos for Rainbow for coming up with this. You could even push it forward to prevent the brush roll from even turning on in the first place. And so what I'm going to do now is cut away, fill the basin up with water, and then I'll come back, plug the vacuum in, and then I'll show you it up and running. Okay, now we're back online. I got the whole unit plugged in, and then we got to show you the plug-in. But this really surprised me. I expected this would be in a 3-prong plug, but apparently Rainbow went down to 2-prong ever since they made the D4, because the D3s came with a 3-prong. Not sure why that is, but while I was off camera, I did fill the basin up with water, and this is nice and deep, I will admit that. But anyway, while I was off camera, it also gave me a little bit more time to study this vacuum. Turns out this tab right here is not really for the quick release cord, and I know I'm going to get nailed in the comments for mentioning that in the first place. What it is it's actually for a small little exhaust filter right here, and there's actually a main HEPA filter mounted behind here, and that is how it gets its true HEPA filtration, because if you remember, the D series did not even have HEPA filtration. All they had was just that whole water filtration, which that was its only filter back then, which it doesn't really help with trapping that much dust, but usually, yeah, it would trap most of the dust in its water, but it wouldn't exhaust out as much clean air. It would mostly exhaust out water vapor. But for this, it traps more dust this way, and so you don't have as much dust and water vapor flying out back into the air you breathe. So that's nice that Rainbow developed this on these later models. So what I am going to do now is go ahead and set the motor unit back on to the motor, or the water basin and the wheel caddy. And just sure I got this side lined up. And now I'll go ahead and, oops, got the cord caught. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys so you can see the way this thing runs. And first off, let me go ahead and show you the low speed mode. This is mainly for if you're just using it as an air purifier, which you actually can use these for these rainbows. So let's put it on low speed. And you have this right there. This is mainly just for using this as a humidifier. As you can see, water does bubble around there. And I do like how the water basin on these black editions are backlit. So you can basically see how it will work this way. So anyway, this low speed is mainly for using it as an air purifier, and high speed is for using it as a main vacuum. Alright, so now let's go ahead and flip this thing on high speed, and then I'll run this thing through their den, and we'll see what this thing picks up in the end. So away we go. This thing is very nice and quiet. Here's how it looks on high speed. Alright, now let's go ahead and get this thing up and running. Just step right here to put the power nozzle back on the floor. Now let's go ahead and pull the trigger and get sweeping. The brush is spinning. Power brush is nice and narrow on this. The headlight on this power nozzle is nice and bright. It's going to relieve some. Actually, let's go ahead and shut the power brush off and relieve some suction here. Now I'm going to go to the little low pile rug here. Pull this out just ever so slightly. And the one nice thing is you can use this power brush on hardwood floor. That's kind of, I think that's actually the reason why they put this little lockout to lock the trigger off, is so that you can safely use this on your bare floors. But however, if you wanted to, you simply just step on there, pull the power brush off, then you can even get your specialized hard floor tool and attach it onto the end of the brush like so. And now you can use this on bare floors if you didn't want to just use just the power brush with no brush flow operating. And when you're finished, just simply push this little metal tab right here, and then you could basically switch back over to your power brush. Whoops. And now you're back to cleaning carpet. And before we end the video, I'll go ahead and show you just how strong the suction is. It is pretty strong, I will tell you that. Better than my D3, I will tell you that. Here, I think the wheel caddy must have hit. Sometimes this thing doesn't really like to lock in place. But anyway, a real fantastic machine to use. Well, let's go and see what it picked up in those few runs I did. Probably didn't do much, but actually, I think it would be much safer if we took the motor unit off and gain access to the bin this way. Whoa. Now this is just fantastic. And I'm sorry this was quite a lengthy video, and granted, I probably should have done some studying up on this thing before I made said video. But I will admit, this is such an amazing machine. From a guy who usually loves uprights, I will admit canisters do have their ups and downs. But coming from someone who likes uprights, I will say, as far as canisters go, this is a really amazing machine. So, I hope you've enjoyed this quite lengthy video of this Rainbow E2 Black Edition. Sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.